Hi everyone. I'm assuming we're live everywhere we should be live. So just a quick introduction, because obviously we did do our interview last week with Stacey, or the week before, sorry. So my name's Christine and this is Nicki to my right, but I don't know if it's to your left. And we're from Blossoming Connections. We're therapeutic mindfulness trainers working with entrepreneurs, small businesses, and corporations, supporting people around their mental health and well-being, and within specifically businesses and like corporations, how they can incorporate better to support their team and their employees. So today we're going to be speaking about how to get overwhelm and anxiety under control. So I'll just pass you over to Nicki, and then between us, we'll kind of like hopefully sync really well and kind of both be chipping in.
That's the plan anyway, eh?
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us, and it's lovely to be here. And thank you for joining us. If Christine will be checking to see if there's any messages coming up, as she always does, because she's the tech person in our business. I'm not very good at all of that stuff. So Christine will be checking to see if there's any comments or questions or anything like that as well. So we'll get underway. So as Christine said, our journey is from being therapists. So we are creative arts therapists, and our journey started working with families and children, and now we are therapeutic mindfulness trainers. We've also mindfulness teachers as well. So if you like, I suppose the best way to describe it is we've combined, haven't we, Christine? We've combined all of our knowledge and our expertise in the training into one, and now we support, as Christine says, businesses and corporations and entrepreneurs as well. Or that mental health, as we all know, and mindset is a really big thing, especially when you're running businesses or running a corporation or you're working in a business. It is a massive thing, and we're all faced. I'm just checking my notes as well, so if you see me looking, that's why, just not to miss out anything. So we all face challenges in life, don't we? We all face challenges in businesses, and this it can impact different business owners in different ways. And we're all individuals, and we all have our own trigger points, and we all have our things that we can cope with. So what would challenge me may not challenge Christine, and vice versa. And we all know that businesses go through, we go through stresses and challenges in business, and this can have a massive impact on our mindset and mental well-being. So it doesn't matter whether you are starting off as a business or you're earning six figures or more in a business. As your business grows, or as a corporation grows, we tend to our struggles grow with us. Our mindset grows, and we experience more overwhelm and anxiety the more our business grows as well. So you want to achieve further goals and obviously grow your business, but that comes at a price with our mindset and overwhelm. And we've noticed that so much with some of the entrepreneurs and businesses that we speak to, that it doesn't matter where you are in business. Every time your business grows and stretches, you get faced with challenges, don't you, Christine?
Yeah, in life and business, and actually they impact each other.
Yeah,
Obviously we'll be talking a lot about like over kind of like the next few months, we'll be talking about different things that you can do. But it's not just whether you've got a business. Obviously everyone in here is probably, I'm assuming, has a business, and like Nicki said, it doesn't matter where you are in business, but it could be that an experience, a challenge or situation or something's happened in your life. And then if you're not taking time to obviously rest or do the things that you should do, look after your mindset, and kind of taking that kind of step back to allow yourself to kind of process it, it's going to impact your business, and vice versa. If you're challenged or something comes up to do your business, that can also impact your mental health, which is it's your physical being in life, isn't it? So they kind of always interlinked anyway.
I definitely agree with that. So, what normally happens is we stress. There's stress and anxiety, and stress and anxiety, even though they can present as similar, they are different. So stress is caused by external factors. So for instance, it could be a death in the family, it could be work related, it could be financial things, it could be sort of, I suppose we class it as sort of any kind of traumatic event that or loss that you've experienced. And this delivers stress. We feel stressed about what has happened because of this external factor that has happened to us. And you'll normally it will go after that stress has been resolved or taken away. So for instance, if there's been a death, the stress of having a death in the family is absolutely awful and can affect obviously our mindset and well-being, the same as financial responsibilities as well. But once that has been resolved or through a death we've gone part of through the grieving process, that what happens normally is then the stress then diminishes. I'm not saying it goes completely, but it's diminished because we've dealt with the trauma that's happened, so it normally disperses. Anxiety is caused by internal factors, so it's our minds and body's reaction to the uncertainty of a stressful situation. So it means that you're always feeling apprehensive or dreading something, even when there is no obvious sign of threat um, to that situation. So they're different. So anxiety is an internal factor and stress is an external factor. And we all have them at some point. And actually, certain amounts of stress and anxiety are normal. They are normal. And I think that sometimes when we speak to people, they feel so out of control with stress and anxiety, and it impacts them, their business and their life, that they don't realize that it can be normal and it's okay to have stress and anxiety. It's okay. When it gets a problem or is when it's constant, it's continuous, and we can't switch off from it, or it's affecting our mental well-being, it's affecting us personally, it's affecting our family, it's affecting our business. So when you're living in that stress, that flight or fight mode all the time, then that is when it needs to be addressed. That's when you might need some support to help you. So, like we said, it's healthy to have stress and anxiety in our life. um our flight and fight responses kick in, and it helps to keep us safe as well. So thinking about stress and anxiety, the best way to start thinking about it is identify what you're stressed about or what you're anxious about first of all. That's I suppose the beginning of anything. What are you stressed? What's going on for you at the moment to make you feel stressed or make you feel anxious? Is it a business related thing? Is it a family related thing? Is it a personal related thing? Is it a combination of all three? Is it a combination of both? So it's identifying that first of all. And one of the things that you can do is write it, journal it. We love a bit of journaling, me and Christine. And there's evidence to prove as well that journaling is really good. It changes it, it the things go on in the brain when you're journaling, because you're writing it down, you're changing synapses in the brain, and you're also it does something to the hemispheres in your brain as well. So that's why journaling is really a good idea to help you process things. It gets it out of our head as well, and it gets it onto paper. Because I don't know about you, and I know you feel the same, Christine, because we've talked about it loads of times, that sometimes when you've got things going on and on and on and around and around and around and around in your head, it adds to the stress, doesn't it? It adds to the anxiety. And once we've got it out there, either by talking about it with somebody that we trust, or we write it down, and journaling it, you can say it as you're journaling it as well. it makes a massive impact, doesn't it, Christine? Just getting it out of your head onto paper or just talking about it.
Yeah, and I think like we haven't really touched base on it, but like decluttering, so decluttering your space, but it's not just about your space, it's decluttering your mind. And
Yeah.
I think that's what like journaling gives you, that opportunity to do that. So yeah, it's not just your kind of physical space, but it's also kind of your mental,
Yeah, absolutely.
and allowing that time within your day or your week, or maybe it's not even a daily or weekly routine that you need to have, or it's just when and as you feel that you need to do it. But it's a good tactic to be like, right, okay, grab a book. It's quite good to like handwrite when you're journaling rather than kind of typing.
Yeah, definitely.
Like grab a book and be like, right, okay, I'm going to sit down for 5-10 minutes and journal something's going on. And because I think at that point as well, before even journaling, you might not know what it is, but this might help shift that. And it might be like, well, what has triggered me? Do you know what I mean? Something could happen, an experience, it could be in the past, but then something triggers you, but you're not too sure of that trigger. You're not too sure what's happened and what you're currently stressed about, like what Nicki said, what's currently causing you that anxiety and stress. But you might it might come to like realization when you're journaling. You might be like, oh, that's what it is.
Yeah. And I think adding on for that, Christine, as well, is that journaling, even though whether you know how to do it or not, is not to put too much pressure on journaling. It's just writing whatever's in your head. So trust your intuition. And the more you get to know how to do it and the more you practice, it becomes easier. Like we've known people that started journaling and they don't know what to write. And it's not about knowing what to write, it's whatever's in your head, that's what you're journaling. You're journaling your thoughts. And the more you journal, the more thoughts you had. And it brings me back to, I done journaling in school once. I remember, I think I was in, it was secondary school. And I remember a teacher getting us to be absolute silent for, I think it was half an hour, and just write our thoughts, what was ever was in our head. And I remember thinking back then, so like I was probably 13, thinking, well, this is a bit weird. Like, why are you getting us to do this? This is not a lesson. But back then, it really helped. And after, so many of, I remember my class saying how they enjoyed it and how they was then able to get on with the next part of the lesson, because they'd dumped all of the stuff in their mind, and the classroom was so calm after. And it's not until now doing what we do, I realised that, hold on a minute, I was journaling then, I was decluttering.
Needed more, isn't it?
Yeah, it was so powerful. So like I was saying, please don't put too much emphasis on what you're doing and think, oh, I don't know what to write. It is about any thoughts that come into your head, just write them down. And it might be like Christine says, the more you start writing, the more will come to you, and you might get to the trigger point of what had happened or what's really going on for you. But that can take a long time to get to root causes. It's not going to happen just in like a couple of minutes of doing that. It takes time, and it takes trust of yourself to be able to just trust yourself and to be able to just write. Make sure, as Christine said, it's decluttering. So make sure the surroundings, what you're in, is calm as well. So there's no good trying to journal while the telly's on, or while you've got kids running around, or while there's cooking dinner and things like that. It's okay to play soft music or mindfulness meditation music, but try and keep the space around you quiet and calm, and you're on your own. Shut yourself away for 10-15 minutes, however long it's going to take you, and you'll probably find that it takes you longer the more you do it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people do this. I don't know if you've done it, Nicki. I haven't. But you don't have to then shut yourself away in home. You could actually go for a walk. So even though it might be quite noisy, like if you go to a park, especially now in the summer holidays in the UK anyway, there might be lots of children in the park. But if it's a big park, you might find a space like away from the play area, and do you know what I mean? You might be able to get in your zone, but obviously you would be able to kind of judge that yourself, whether you would get distracted. But it might be quite nice kind of being in nature, because it's the same as doing things like meditating, which we're going to touch base on in a minute, and the different ways that you can meditate. Again, this is something you could do. You could just go and sit in the park and just sit. You don't need to, do you know what I mean? So being out in the nature, like fresh air, and that could be quite good.
Definitely. My favourite place is by the beach.
Yeah.
So by the beach, but if I did live by the beach, I always said this to my husband, I would go out and sit on the beach and I would journal and I would meditate there, because that would be my morning ritual or my afternoon ritual, because I love doing things like that.
Yeah, and some of you might already kind of have your favorite places where you like to go, and I don't know if any of yous in here are authors, but I know, like, when you kind of watch films and different things on, you see them, and I know sometimes they're in like other countries and you think, oh, and they do, don't they, they have like a little kind of beach house and they go and sit there, and that's where they write their book or something like that. So find what works for you, find your kind of your little space that you can kind of go to.
Yeah, mine's my bedroom at the moment, and I do like being outside. So yeah, mine is my bedroom, because it's quiet and calm.
It's where we rest, isn't it? It's where we sleep. So
I like doing that. So yeah, so there's obviously, we've talked about journaling. Christine touched on meditation. So meditation is key as well. We're not sure who does meditation and if you enjoy meditation or not, but sometimes I think there's a misconception with meditation, and people think that you have to be cross-legged, with your fingers like that, and doing it for hours and on ends, and it doesn't have to be like that. There's different types of meditation, as you know, informal and formal, and you can do long meditations like that, the more formal ones with the cross-legged and doing it for longer periods,
and that would include like body scans and things like that as well, so they are good to do. But that might be something that you do like once or twice a week, like a formal meditation.
But then we do things like like a 3-minute sort of meditation or a 1-minute meditation, where it's all about your breathing technique. So it's all about just grounding yourself. So sometimes when I feel anxious, and I do feel anxious at times, and I do feel stressed at times, we're normal. And like we said before at the beginning, it is normal to feel these things. But when I feel like that, or I'm feeling overwhelmed with what I've got to do or what's coming up, then I just do a quick 1-2 minute meditation, and all I do is make sure that my feet are on the floor. So I do close my eyes if I can, and I just concentrate on my breath. That's all I do. I count my breath in and out as I'm doing it, and that's all I do until I can feel myself being calmer again. Now, because we are mindfulness teachers and we train doing meditations and things like that, I don't need to do a long meditation, and I do them, but I don't do them all the time. But I like the quick ones that allow me to become in the present moment when my mind is wandering off into other things and creating overwhelm for me. So I really like the short ones. They really help me as well. And that's
so what Nicki's now talking about is like informal meditation. So that, going back to the example I said, when you're in a park or if you're at a beach or something, you might not feel safe to have your eyes closed, and that's okay. You might, and that's also okay. So with informal, you can have your eyes closed or open, but yeah, it's just simple in connecting with your breath and your surroundings and being in that present moment. So it could be obviously being aware of your breath, but actually taking like the sounds of like nature, like birds. If you by the beach, sorry, I couldn't think, like the waves and like the seagulls. And then if you're in a park, it might be like children. I love hearing like children like playing. I work with children, like me and Nicki like work with children as well, but just like, you know, when you like hear children like laughing and playing, and so it might just be that, and just kind of, because it's bringing you back to that present moment, that you're here and now, and these are your surroundings. And I remember like last year when actually there was, and I'm speaking from my perspective in the UK, and I don't know where everyone comes from, and kind of if you're in other countries, and whether it was the same for you. But obviously, because there was less aeroplanes in the sky last year, you really heard the birds. Like, I think you heard the birds a lot more than what you do normally. And I don't think I've heard, or to be fair, it's not been nice weather in the UK, so I've not been sitting in the garden, but you really did hear, and it was just nice to just sit in the garden and just listen.
Yeah, I love
So
to.
yeah.
I met up with some people I used to work with, and one of them is a head at quite a good school. And he said something to me today, and he said, "Do you know what, Nicki? Whenever I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed with my job and what's expected of me, I go into the reception class, and all I do is just stay in a class for 5-10 minutes, and the laughter of them children just bring me back." So he said, "I can honestly understand why you say how mindfulness works. You've got to find what's right for you." And how about mindfulness and what we do, Christine, a lot today. And he said it just brings you back to that present moment. And then he said after it's of spending time just listening to them and just with no care in the world, he said, then I know that I can go off and do what I need to do. And it's so true. So it's finding what works for you, like Christine said. And
It's the same, isn't it? Taking that time out.
yeah,
It doesn't
definitely.
mean taking that time out and going to sleep,
Yeah,
or it doesn't mean taking time out from your business so you physically go on holiday. It might just be like that you've taken a day out to spend with your kids and you're going out for the day. It could be that you're taking like 5-10 minutes for yourself, or you're going for a walk, or it could be absolutely anything. Sometimes you need that to then come back the next day or come back in the next hour to do the things that you might be like kind of, I guess, procrastinating about doing as well.
I think, you know what? I think that we all know these things, but we just don't implement them, do we? And we know these, like meditation is not new to anyone. Decluttering your environment is not new. Taking time out for yourself, these are not new concepts, but it's actually making them happen, and it's getting the support that you need. We as we know, being around like-minded people, being around people that are your cheerleaders, being around people that lift you up, make you smile, make you laugh, want you to succeed, are happy for you. All of these types of people, especially when you're running your business, you don't want to be surrounded by people that are jealous about you, or they don't want you to do well in your business, or they're trying to copy you, and things like this, or take something for free. You want to surround yourself with like-minded sort of people. It doesn't mean you have to be running the same businesses. It doesn't mean that you have to be earning the same amount of money. It doesn't mean that one business needs to be successful as the other. It is about just being with people that lift you up, and trying to, there's always going to be negativity, and it's hard to get rid of that completely. Everyone has negativity in their life and people surrounding them, but it's how long you choose to spend with these people, is one of the main things to help get anxiety and stress under control. Because when you've got people like that around you, they are going to trigger you, and if they're triggering you, that means your stress and anxiety is going to increase more. So be with people that calm you down, that want you to do well, that help you find solutions, that don't just concentrate on all the negative things or all the woes or the moans. You want people, it's like, right, okay, then what can we do? What can we do? And they find a solution. So yeah, people like that will help control your anxiety and stress.
Yeah, definitely. And I think this is why obviously in business you have a coach or a mentor that you're working with. Sometimes it's not just having that mentor and coach that is helping you in business, but it's kind of helping you with your mindset and your own well-being and that, because like Nicki said, sometimes we know this stuff but we don't do it, and it's really important to be able to run effectively in our business, and to prevent that overwhelm of anxiety and overwhelm and anxiety, sorry. We need to kind of look after it. I think it's having that accountability, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I think that we was talking to our mentor actually yesterday, and we were saying, and many of you might have heard this as well, and I know that I've heard about it before, that you kind of you upgrade your phone, or you kind of recharge your phone, but yet you don't necessarily invest in upgrade your mindset or recharge your mindset.
Yeah.
So
So,
yeah,
isn't
that
it?
was really interesting.
It's so true. It's
It
that
is.
do all of that. We spend thousands on I don't know, we spend thousands on phones, we spend thousands on technology, we spend
Mm,
thousands on different kinds of trading, but we never nurture our mental health and our mental well-being. So
yeah,
that's the main thing. If your mental well-being is and your mindset is not right, then everything else will not be okay either.
yeah,
Which brings
definitely.
back to sleep.
Mm,
So sleep is
yeah,
important, and it's funny because when you're stressed or anxious, sometimes it has a negative effect that you can't sleep, so you feel worse with no sleep, obviously, and over a period of time it's not helping with your stress and anxiety, especially having a full day's work in business and dealing with family and everything else that you need to do. A lack of sleep is one of the main things that contributes to stress and anxiety, because we just can't cope. We can't cope with the daily runnings of everything if we have a lack of sleep. So, our advice is for sleeping, all things that are not new concepts, they're all new, but it's trying to get into a sleep routine. And getting into a sleep routine means roughly going to sleep and waking up the same time each day, roughly. Um, Thinking about your surroundings. What is your room like? Is your room calm? Is it dark? Is it messy? Is it, have you got lots of rubbish around, like clothes on the floor, or does your room need decorating again? So think about the surroundings, like we've spoken about before. It's really important, our surroundings that we're in. So think about how your room is, where you're sleeping. Is your bed comfy? A lot of people don't change their bed or their mattress, should we say, very often. And what they recommend, I'm not a bed expert, but
years with your mattress.
is it something like every 8 years you have to change?
Yeah,
So think about how, um, like what your mattress is your bed comfy, is your mattress comfy, and if it isn't, then maybe that's the first step of thinking, right, I'm going to get a mattress that is, or a bed that's more comfortable and my pillows are more comfortable. So, and then looking at how you can change things in your room. Does it need to be tidier? Does it need to be decorated? Do you need to put things away? So you're creating an environment what is calming. I've got blackout blinds in all of my rooms because I like having a dark room and it really helps me to sleep. I also wear an eye mask as well because that helps me to sleep. I had lots of trouble sleeping going through the menopause. It was horrible, and honestly, it just knocks you for six when you can't sleep, you can't function properly, and everything is dramatized, isn't it? Everything's
mm,
worse when you can't sleep. So creating that routine is really important. They say, don't they, not drinking caffeine before you go to bed, limit your food intake, maybe drink herbal teas or do a meditation, listen to calming music. I do that as well. I listen to meditations or calming music, and I know you do that as well, Christine, don't you, before you go to sleep?
yeah,
Not all the time. I'm not saying I do it every single day, but if I feel like I need it, then I will do it. So I suppose with all of these things, it's recognizing and knowing yourself. What do you need and what works for you, and trying to find something that you're going to stick to.
yeah, definitely. Has anyone got any questions or anything that you want to add to what we've been saying? Can you relate to some of these? Do you already have kind of routines that you and kind of daily rituals and habits that you do? There's a few people that have commented and just said hi. Carol, Dobby, Stanislava, who else? I think that's it. There's someone else that come up, Facebook user. I'm not too sure who that is. And because obviously we're streaming in, I think about 4 places, I can't check on the Facebook because I don't know everyone's obviously joining from everywhere. But if there's anyone else that wants to, if you've got any questions or anything that you want to ask us, yeah,
feel free.
feel free.
Yeah, I think
obviously we're going to be in the groups anyway. We are in the groups already. So obviously reach out to us if you have any kind of questions later on. And we're obviously going to be going live the next kind of few weeks anyway in September. No, we're not in September yet, are we? In August and September.
we are. So I think the main thing is to identify, first of all, what, if anything, you're stressed about or you're anxious about, and whether it's in business, personal life, your finances, could be anything. But be honest with yourself and that's the first step, to be honest with yourself and identify the stresses and what you're anxious about, first of all.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll wait for a minute or so to see if anyone's got any questions. But obviously, if you watch this back on replay and then you do have any questions, then please obviously put it in the comments and we'll get back to you later on.
Yes, we will.
So,
thank you for having us, everybody.
yes, thank you.
And see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.